Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday. Welcome to another live here with me, Asiya Nasir, the host of Wake Up Wednesdays and founder of the nonprofit organization called Jessica Cares, where our mission is to help young girls and women to feel confident and walk boldly on the earth, and where they, who they interact with, feeling like they have a contribution to every space and every person that they interact with and come encounter with. So that is what Wake Up Wednesdays is all about, is to basically wake us up, get us back on track if we're feeling a little off kilter for whatever the reason is. That is what we're here to do today, sharing strategies and methods in which we can grow personally, spiritually, professionally, socially, basically in every aspect of our life. So for those of you that are new to this page and new to this, platform, welcome. And for those of you that have, been following and enjoying the content and come each and every week, welcome back. So that is what we're going to be doing. Wake Up Wednesdays is really, something that is the midweek. They call it a hump week. Sometimes you need that extra push to get over that hump. And so that is what we're doing today. And we're going to be talking about a topic that I think, especially in women, I'm sure it happens in men, but particularly for women, this is something that I think, is something that we really deal with. But before we get into that, I want to make sure that our friends on Facebook is getting it, because I'm noticing that when we do our lives, it's coming up private on on one of our pages. So I'm trying to make sure that, making sure that the privacy setting is for public, for everybody to see it instead of just myself, so that way they can engage. All right. And that is what I just did. So that way we have all of our friends, all of our followers joining us and participating in this engaging Wake Up Wednesday. So typically I come on here, and what I do is I talk about, 3 to 4, sometimes even 5 strategies to help you in whatever, topics they are. But this particular one is actually personal development, actually working, implementing, doing something immediately that rewires the brain. And I think that's the method that I'm going with for the rest of the year, because I just don't want you to hear great ideas, but not have an idea or an how to in order to actually implement that great idea. So today's Wake Up Wednesday is going to be different. It's actually interactive. So that way you can actually start doing things when this is over, when this live is over, and actually start implementing them. So if you have a daughter, have your daughter, have your niece, have your younger sister join in doing this, because sometimes when you do it with someone, it actually, you can be each other's accountability partner, and it's a lot easier to stick with it if you have someone who's supporting you. So what is Wake Up Wednesday's topic this morning? And the topic today is going from comparison to confidence. And that's breaking free from social media pressure, or just social pressures altogether. And that's why I said I think women more than men struggle with this. And that's because there's a lot of images of women who look a certain way, you know, uh, their bodies are a certain way, their lifestyles are a certain way, and it really emphasizes. And because we as women are more emotional, we tend to internalize a lot of things that we don't see or may want, and we start looking at ourselves in a way that's not serving us and not going to put us in a position where we need to be, where we should be. And so this is the strategies that we're going to be talking about, is to break free from that, break free from feeling like you have to fit in to some social media, platform, or some social platform that you don't necessarily, fit in. And so what I want to do today is really go into, as I mentioned before, some interactive things that you can do. So, and if you want to drop in and put some comments in the chat, I welcome it. Leave some comments on here so that way we can engage. This is a discussion. This is not me talking to you or talking at you. This is us having a great conversation early in the morning before we get our day started. So, strategy number 1. How do we break free, from social media pressure and go from comparison to confidence? Strategy number 1 is before we get into that, How many of you have sat there and scrolled through social media, or have had, go to the workplace, or you go to the gym, and before you even start your workout, before you even start your day, you're scrolling through social media and you're feeling like the longer you're on social media, you're starting to feel bad because this person looks like this person is traveling, this person dresses like this person has a body like this person's husband does this for them. And we start comparing and looking at our lives and saying, well, you know what, my life is not as happy, or it's not where I would like it to be. So that is what I'm talking about when we're talking about comparisons, making comparisons and looking at other people, whether on social media or not, and starting to compare our lives to it. So the first thing I want to do is share with you that comparison is the killer of all joy. Please know that. Comparison is the killer of all joy. And the reason for that is because you're focusing on more of what you don't have versus what you do have. And even in my faith, it teaches us always look to those who have less than you than those that have more than you. Why? Because it puts things into perspective that while, yes, someone else may be living better than what you think you're living, there's so many people that don't even have what you have, not even an ounce of what you have. So when you're focusing more on that and giving charity and helping other people, you really get to appreciate what you have. No matter what the amount is, big or small, you appreciate it because you know it could be so much worse, right? People are going through life with even less than what you have. So comparison really is it's a joy killer. So let's get into those strategies that I was talking about that's really going to help you to be able to overcome that, and stop doing that in your everyday life and actually being able to enjoy your life, the life that you were given by our Creator. So strategy number one is create, and this is something I really want you to do, create a confidence jar. So I don't care if it's a spaghetti sauce jar, any type of jar that you have, clear jar, or even, any type of jar. I want you to put a label on it, and I want you to label it confidence jar. And what I want you to do with this confidence jar is I want you to reclaim your power in real time. So this requires you to be very conscious about what you're thinking, even very conscious about what you're saying out loud that may be ex, ex, kind of showing that you're making comparisons. So if you're thinking, oh, I wish I could have had this, or my life is not, whatever it is that you say to yourself that starts that comparison rabbit hole, right? I want you to catch yourself in that moment. Catch yourself in that moment, even if you don't say it out loud, but just a thought, because even a thought can it can take you down a path you don't want. So a thought of comparison or a thought of ingratitude because you're looking at someone else's life, or something that you're saying to someone or even to yourself out loud because you're just talking to yourself. And I want you to do is stop right in that moment. I want you to stop right in that moment. And I want you to just take a piece of paper. It could even be a tissue, paper towel, index card, anything. And what I want you to do is write down one thing that you absolutely love about yourself or love about your life. One thing. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch of things, just one thing. And the reason why I say it just takes one thing is because if you start focusing on, even if it's one thing that you love about yourself or about your life, it shifts the focus from lack to abundance. It automatically does that. It automatically, because our brain is wired to do that. It'll do whatever and believe whatever you tell it, negative or positive. So this shifts your mental and what you're focusing on, which is I don't have this, I don't have that, to now I love that about myself. I love this about my life, right? And now that shifts your mind into feeling good. You're not feeling depressed. You're feeling very happy about life, wanting to move, and that creates productivity, that creates creativity, right? All of these beautiful things that come with shifting your mind from lack to abundance, right? So have that jar. And every time you're feeling some type of way, or anytime you're feeling like, you know what, I'm comparing myself to somebody at the job. I'm comparing myself to someone on social media. I'm comparing myself to someone in my social setting, whatever it is. And I want you to revisit that jar. Look into that jar and pick it up. And then what you start doing is now you're not having a moment where you're shifting your mental from lack to abundance. Now you are revisiting and really getting to see your life in real time. Like, I have a lot to be grateful for. I have a lot of good things happening in my life. And now the things that you were comparing yourself to before, or the things that you felt you didn't have before, now you're starting to see that you have an abundance of things that you can feel proud of, that you can feel happy about, that's really going to shift you. So when you're looking at things, you're no longer comparing, because now your mind has embraced and actually can see in real time all of the things that you have to be grateful for, and all of the things that you have within yourself and within your life, and the life that you've created and been blessed with. You can actually start focusing on that and feeling really, really good, and no longer making the comparison, being victim to the comparison trap. Right? So that's strategy number one, is create a confidence jar. It does, you can decorate the jar, you can make it plain, but get one. And it's just as simple as that. Whenever you catch yourself thinking negatively or putting yourself in that comparison, write something down on a piece of paper, I don't care what it is, tissue or paper towel, and put it in that confidence jar. One thing you love about yourself, or one thing that you love about your life. So that's strategy number one. Strategy number two is I call vision mapping, but this vision mapping is a little bit different. And this vision mapping is something that you're going to become very intimate with. And it's really, really simple. So remember when we were in grade school, and in grade school we had those assignments where they say, okay, take a piece of paper, and especially when we had to do spelling tests or whatever, they would say, take a piece of paper and fold it in half, and then you would have to write 1 through 10 or however many things on the left side, and then on the right side you had to do the same thing. Well, we're going back to school, we're going back to basics. So I want you to literally get a piece of paper, and this is called like vision mapping, where it's at your pace and your path, becoming really clear with where you are and at your pace, right? So what I want you to do is literally get a piece of paper. And if you're somewhere where you can do it right now, I invite you to get it right now, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to get a piece of paper. And on this piece of paper, I want you to fold it in half. And on the left side of the page, I want you to write down where you are in life, where you are spiritually in life, where you are professionally in life. If you are a young girl watching this, where you are academically in life, where you are as far as your health goes, where you are in your social life, and where you are in your emotional and personal life. Like, where are you right now in life, period, right? Write that down. I don't care if it's the whole page, write it down. And then on the right side of the page, I want you to write where you want to be. So, give you an example. Left side, I believe, I'm a believer, not a believer. I believe in God, right? I believe in God. I acknowledge his presence. I strive to be a good person, to be pleasing to him. Where do you want to be on the right side? That's where you are on the left side. On the right side, where you want to be. I want to have an intimate relationship with my creator. I want to be in constant communication with my creator, meaning throughout my day, have a consciousness of God, so that way it governs my life, right? So that's where I am, and here is where I want to be. Professionally, I am here. This is where I want to be. Academically, this is where I am. This is where I want to be, right? And so what I want you to do after you do that, then I want you to take a marker, and down the in the middle where you folded it in half, make a bold line down the middle. Put it in black, blue, or maybe even your favorite color. And what I want you to write on the top of this paper is, My journey, and then in bold letters, write, not hers. My journey, not hers. The reason why I said to title this is because a lot of times we have to realize that when we are evolving, when we are trying to ascend to a higher version of ourselves, we have to understand that progress is personal. This is not a community effort. This is not a group project. Progress, your own growth, your evolving, your ascending to something better is a personal thing. It's a personal project. So that's why it says it's my journey, not hers. This takes away the or breaking free from social media pressures or even social pressures, because a lot of times we look at other people, it's just like looking at a celebrity, right? You look at a celebrity and you're like, oh my gosh, they live in the life, right? Oh my goodness, they come out with one hit, they came out with one album and their one CD, and look, they are doing good. But what you don't realize is that same celebrity, that same artist was sitting up here getting doors slammed in their face, sitting up here sleeping in their cars, bad credit, all kind of stuff. And they were doing it for years, right? That's their journey. That's their path to where they are, right? So it's the same with you. Instead of looking at someone else and looking at the final version of whatever it is that they're showing you, don't focus on that. Focus on your journey and your progress and your steps and your path, right? Focus on that. This is where I am. This is where I want to be. And then what I want you to do is I want you to revisit this page. That's why I say you're going to become real intimate with this vision mapping, right? This is what I want you to do is revisit that every single week and track your growth. Track your growth and see, where am I with this? Am I improving? Am I closer to it? Because you're more focused on that versus what someone else is doing, your energy and your intentions throughout the day is becoming more laser sharp to where it is that you're wanting to go. Because again, whatever you feed your brain, that is what it's going to focus on. That is what it's going to feed. That is what it's going to nurture, right? So if you're nurturing where you are and where you want to be, and the operative word is where you want to be, not on someone else's pace. Revisit that once a week and check your growth and not someone else's. And I'm speaking from, going through changes right now. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm 52 years old and I am literally in the thick of perimenopause. That's a whole nother topic in and of itself. Okay. I'm in perimenopause right now. And let me tell you, my body is going through it. Me and my body is just, it's just a whole different ball game. And so when I'm looking at my journey of adapting to the new version of Asia, right? Instead of comparing myself to other women who are 52 that may not be going through what I'm going through, they have different genes, they have a different genetic makeup, they have maybe a different lifestyle, all of these different contributing factors that are very different to mine. So instead of focusing on what's not going to help me, what has nothing to do with me, I'm going to focus on me. This is my genetic makeup. This is where my body is right now. This is my lifestyle right now. What changes can I make? What adjustments can I make in order to get me to where I am, to where I want to be? That's the focus, not someone else's. Someone else lost weight in 4 months. Her metabolism may be different. Maybe she's 30 years old. I'm 52. Clearly, my metabolism is a lot slower than someone's in their 30s. So if I'm comparing myself to someone else who's completely different and their makeup is completely different, I'm setting myself up for failure, is what I'm doing. I'm setting myself up for failure because I'm comparing myself to something that I am no longer. My body doesn't function as a 30-year-old. My metabolism is not as a 30-year-old, right? So I want you to take that in and look into your life and saying, who am I comparing myself to? And say, you know what? Don't focus on what doesn't concern me. Focus on what does concern you, and that's you in your journey, and be proud of your progress. Slow progress is better than no progress. When you are comparing and you are taking notes of what everybody else is doing, guess what? Your energy is being focused on what they're doing, which leaves you no time to work on your own progress. So you end up never evolving, never getting to where you want to be, and living your life always looking at the next person, wishing and this and that, when you can actually create that for yourself. You got to start somewhere. So I want you to actually do that. I want you to actually do that. And if you have any, I do this with someone if you want. Do this project, even though it's personal, maybe make it a family thing where everybody is focusing on where they want to go. So that way, as a whole unit, maybe you and your best friend, y'all are doing a personal development thing. Although it's personal, you're holding each other accountable. So when you're hearing the other person saying things, you stop it. What's your journey? What's your path? Let's take a look at our weekly vision mapping, and where am I when I first wrote this, and where am I now? Even if it's 2 weeks later, 4 months later, statistically, it has shown that when people do vision boards and things like that, they actually live a life that is more productive because they are actually focusing on their goals, and it has been like basically imprinted in their mind, branded in their mind and in their brain. And so that is what they're focusing on to actually get to where they want to go. So I want you to actually do that, and then revisit it every week. Choose a day, maybe every Sunday before the week starts. Where am I in comparison to last week as it relates to the items that are on my left side, which is where I am, and then on the right side, where I want, and focus on the title, my journey, not hers, right? So last strategy number 3, and this is actually one that I find extremely challenging, especially if you're on social media a lot, especially if you are comparing yourself to people on social media or people in your social life. So this is specific to those that are scrolling through social media and you're looking at everybody else, and you end up going to bed, and or you end up starting your day, and you're not in a good space because of what you're looking at. So what I want you to do as far as the comparison trap when it comes to social media is, I want you to literally look at, how it says followers and following. I want you to click on where it says following, which means who you're following. And I want you to scroll down, and I want you to look at any page, any person that triggers. That person may not even know you. This could be a celebrity. This could be an entrepreneur. This could be someone that you're just looking at their lifestyle and you're just like, oh, I love the way it looks. And it triggers this self-doubt or comparison trap. It's like every time you go on their page, you're like, dang, I'm not feeling good after you go on their page. So it's not like they're personally trying to hurt you, but every time you go on their page, somehow that page triggers you. This is your thing, not this person. This is your struggle. Any page that triggers self-doubt and comparison, what I want you to do is I want you to, and I know this is hard, I want you to unfollow them. I want you to unfollow them. And the reason why I'm saying is to unfollow them. This is a hard no. I'm saying no to comparing myself. And every time I'm taking steps to break free from this. So I have to do something drastic. Unfollow that person. Unfollow that page. And what this does, this creates a digital or an online timeline that it doesn't drain you. It nurtures you. But for every unfollow, here's the caveat to that. For every unfollow, then I want you to follow someone that promotes on their page body positivity, personal development. You hear that? Personal development, meaning I'm sharing messages where everybody's on their own journey, but I'm making suggestions, kind of like what we're doing right now, where they're not making this a group effort, not making this where you can be like this person. No, where you want to be, right? So someone who promotes body positivity, spiritual growth, personal development techniques and strategies, right? Maybe personal coaches. If you're on a health journey, follow pages where this coach is encouraging you on your path to be able to do things and giving you some suggestions on how to live a healthier life, not necessarily focusing on weight, but just living a healthier lifestyle, right? So now, instead of social media becoming a page where when you leave it, you're feeling drained, you're feeling, just not in a good space, now social media becomes a tool of inspiration instead of comparison. So that is what I wanted to share with you this morning. Those are 3 strategies that can really, interactive. These are doers. These are action strategies. These are not just thoughts that you're like, how can I do that? How can I implement that? I just gave you the implementation. So I really want us to become doers, way showers, actually living a life of empowerment, living a life. And that means letting go of things, doing the hard work that it takes to grow, evolve, and become authentically and unapologetically the best versions of ourselves at our own pace. And next thing you know, our page may become that page that people look at and say, you know what? It's not a matter of comparison. I love the suggestions. I love the life that this person's living. And it encourages me to do the same, to live my authentic self, to live my life at my pace, and to enjoy the things that I have been blessed with. Right? So that is what I wanted to share with you this morning as our Wake Up Wednesdays, our lives all the time. And I actually wrote a book. It's right here on the top. You can see it. I'm actually going to put the link. There is a chapter on there where it says chapter 6 of my book, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, Who Am I After All? It's a 10 chapter book. And in chapter 6, it's talking about capitalize on your strengths, not on my weaknesses. Capitalize on my strengths, not on my weaknesses. So I wanted to share that with you. I put the link here in the chat so that way you can actually go on Amazon and you can actually purchase the book. And in that chapter, it has another interactive worksheet that you can actually do an exercise to become part of your personal development each and every day. On May 10th, I actually am doing a mother-daughter brunch, right? So I want you to sit up here, and I'm gonna put the link on here because I really, really want you to be able to attend the mother-daughter. And this is for adults. This is for adults. This is for young, kids 12 years and older with their moms. If you are an adult and your mom you're blessed to still have your mother here, I want you to attend. We have discounts for generations. We have sibling discounts. And it's on May 10th. It's called She Is Me. And basically, we're going to be, having obviously delicious food, all kind of beautiful things, activities for you to be able to connect and to grow, together as mother and daughter in new spaces and discovering each other now in, your ages, and being able to stay connected and to have that beautiful bond as mother and daughter where you're growing together and supporting one another. So just put the link in here. It's on Eventbrite. We're only like 3 weeks away. So May 10th, it's a mother-daughter brunch in Newark, New Jersey. That's where we're going to be hosting the mother-daughter brunch. If you want to attend and you want to do something, it's Mother's Day weekend. What a great way for you to be able to do something nice and do something encouraging. And it's like a tea brunch kind of environment. So I want you to come, invite your sister, so you can make it all of you together doing something beautiful and bonding once again with one another and making your relationship even stronger. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. Stay tuned because in a couple of weeks, because we do this every other Wednesday, stay tuned for our next live where we're going to be talking about another topic that's going to keep you woke and keep you encouraged to focus on yourself. And as I mentioned before, to grow authentically and unapologetically you. So see you guys in a couple of weeks. And if you missed it or just tuned in, this is going to be on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So if you're following my page, you can actually look at the replay and subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. So that way, if you just tuned in, you can actually look at, get that notification so that way you don't miss and you can actually be live and engaging with us in our discussion. So I will see you all, God willing, in a couple of weeks for another powerful Wake Up Wednesday.